Thank you, David. I'm Oscar Berglund from Trustly. I will speak a bit about online banking payments and whether open banking enables for a better way to pay compared to card payments. Before getting into that, though, I'd like to take you a bit back in history, back to the good old days of the checks. Rumor has it, or legend has it, that back in the days in the US, there was a check issued by a consumer. It took the check 4,500 miles to get to the merchant's bank, and 2 weeks. And once it got there was no money left in the account, so the check never cleared. And by the way, the actual distance between the consumer's bank and the merchant's bank was only 4 miles. So obviously, back in those days, it was difficult to be a merchant. You had to wait for a long time, and once you did get a kind of a message about the payment had gone through or not, it was often the kind of the negative answer, not the answer you wanted to have. So this is where we started out, and then obviously people realized here was an opportunity to innovate, and along came the card payments. And card payments was a great invention. It changed a lot of kind of the way we pay and addressed in particular 3 fundamental problems. So firstly, the merchant got an authorization and a guarantee of payment upon initiation. Clearing a settlement, it took some time. It was problematic in the beginning with lots of receipts building up in different storages across the US and the world. But then things got better, and today, obviously, clearing a settlement works very well. And finally, card payments opened up for international payments and FX, and that also eventually turned out to work quite well. So cards was a great invention. A lot of credit to the credit card, so to speak, but they aren't perfect. In particular, in today's world with online commerce, one just has to it's a fact, cards were not invented for online commerce. Cards was invented for point of sale, really, and it's being kind of retrofitted to fit into the world of online commerce. And really, the way we look at it, Trustly, there are 3 key challenges that cards have today for online payments. Firstly, from a UX perspective, it's not a great experience to be a consumer to make a one-off card payment online. There's a lot of different kind of data to enter manually, the card number, the CVV, what have you. And obviously, some of the wallets are trying to solve for that, but you still need to register with the wallet, go through that whole process, kind of re-enter your cards once it expires, what have you. So UX doesn't really work online. Fraud is still a big issue, and I think will remain an issue after the proper full implementation of PSD2 and SCA. You're going to have fraud out of kind of near-term or kind of contactless transactions, international transactions, and what have you. And yearly fraud only in the SEPA region is at 1.8 billion euros. It's a lot of money there. And then finally, cost, of course. Merchants in the audience, you know what it costs to accept payments through payment cards, and it's coming up. So over the last year, costs went up by more than 50% in the UK, looking at kind of scheme fees for cards. So fundamental challenges for cards in the online world. Question is, what about bank payments? Is bank payments a better alternative compared to cards? Well, actually, along with the cards, bank payments have also evolved over the last 20 or 30 years. The back in days, you went to the branch, you made a payment there. That then evolved into kind of into telephone banking, which was a good step forward. And then came along the online banking, 20 years ago or so. And online banking made things much more simpler, but you had a problem of authentication. How did you authenticate yourself when logging into the online bank? In the beginning, very long, cumbersome passwords, PIN codes, combinations thereof. Then came along the hardware token generators. Also, again, pretty clunky experience from a user experience point of view. You had to enter a code into the piece of hardware. It would spit out kind of one-time code. You would enter it into the computer. Sometimes you even had to have a card to put in the token generator to get it to work. So not really ideal. But then, over the last couple of years, there's been a trend towards these kind of hardware tokens and authentication methods moving into the mobile phone, and in particular biometrics-based authentication. So instead of writing a long password, a PIN, or dealing with a hardware device, You can today in many banks authenticate yourself by means of your fingerprint, as an example, or other types of biometrics-based authentication. And that is a huge step forward. It really improves the user experience and not only put it at par with cards, but makes it better than cards. So open banking and biometrics-based authentication are kind of key drivers for the adoption of bank payments. So comparing kind of bank payments, open banking bank payments with cards, you have a highly convenient UX, you have full coverage, by means of you basically can reach anyone, any consumer has access to online banking, and they're intrinsically secure. With bank transfers, SCA is not new. It's always been part of the kind of online banking experience, and so it's kind of part of the flow. It's not, as is in the case in the card world, you need to retrofit something to work kind of after you actually invented a payment method. So you have three kind of big benefits here with open banking-based payments. But open banking-based payments still lack several of the functionalities that you need to have for this to work as a merchant-facing payment solution. So biometrics we spoke about. UX is good. It's better than cards if you have biometrics-based authentication. Coverage is great. Anyone who has access to online banking, you can accept payments from. But you don't have the guarantee up front when a payment is being initiated. Some banks are real-time, but far from all. So you will have some banks that are real-time in a week. Come the weekend, it's batch-based. It's only going to be done by Monday morning. So you can have a consumer making a payment on a Friday afternoon. Weekend comes, the consumer goes to an ATM, withdraws funds. Monday morning comes, suppose you're going to have payment execution, but there's no funds left in the account. So there's no payment happening. And that is obviously a big problem if you're a merchant want to accept payments from consumers. So that's a problem. We have the reconciliation piece. Just initiated payments doesn't really work if you're a merchant. You can't sit and monitor your bank account in real time. You need to have proper reconciliation. And you need to be able to do proper refunds by means of an API call rather than having kind of a manual process every time you want to make a refund. So in many of these, in particular merchant-facing functionalities, open banking payments are still not good enough compared to cards. So what we do at Trustly, we leverage open banking APIs and the benefits of bank payments, and then we augment them with these additional functionalities that you need as a merchant to have in order to actually accept this payment method. In particular, we take the UX and security elements of bank payments. Those work very well. And then we add on these other functionalities that you need as a merchant. To be more specific, we have the UX, we have the customer coverage. We are able, by means of our own risk system, to then add on a guarantee to you as a merchant upfront when a payment happens. We have 10 years of experience, 10 million payments per month. That has given us the opportunity and the possibility to make that guarantee. We'll take care of reconciliation. We'll make sure your PSP gets a very kind of reconciled and structured file of the payments and can deliver that to you. And we take care of refunds. We do partial refunds, full refunds by means of an API call. So this is really how we cannot take the open banking bank payments and augment them with what is needed to actually accept this and have it as a merchant-facing payment solution. So to conclude, I think we're standing on shoulders of giants. Cars were a great invention. It's going to be around for a long time to come. But we have now a new player in town, which is kind of API-based and open banking-based payments. We take them and then we augment them to make them actually work for you as a merchant. And I think there is a potential here for over time for this open banking-based, augmented open banking-based payments to turn into kind of a third payment, global payments network, a third scheme that can kind of over time complement or potentially over time also substitute the card networks. Thank you.